Well, hello and welcome people of the internet to Rogue Loops. This is a new action roguelike, kind of with Hades style combat. The gimmick here is basically we're going to be going into one map, and the map is a circle, and the circle is divided into two different loops, if you will. Every time we enter a new section of the circle, we're going to get the option to get a new benefit. That could be either a relic, that could be a new spell, that could be money, something like that. The twist is that each one that we pick is going to give us a different detriment to that side of the loop. So, for example, if we took, you get a bonus of 150 coins here. However, when you defeat an enemy, it splits into two different enemies. So that kind of thing. And they're going to be separated. So you're going to kind of manage two different sides of the loop. Combat is pretty good. Like I said, it's a Hades-like, so we're going to have different spells. We're going to have different combat. It feels like a Hades or a Raven's Watch or a Curse of the Dead Gods. That kind of combat. So if you like that, you may be interested in this one. Currently, it's kind of a public/private playtest. It is limited in time, so I don't know if by the time this comes up, that will still be available. If you're interested to see if it is, you can go to their Discord and request a playtest key. But of course, check and see if that's available before you start asking the devs for keys and stuff like that. It does look like there's going to be either a public demo or they're going into early access in early January. So keep an eye for that. Of course, Steam page will be down below in the description if you're interested to kind of hold on to this one and take a look. So for now, let's go ahead and jump in here. I've done 5 different attempts trying to get a little bit of meta progression, so that way we can actually see kind of what the progression system of the game is like. It looks like there's going to be 4 characters, at least at some point. There may be more, there may be less. Probably not less. But anyway, we're starting here with Aiden, the sun. You can see all his stats. And our weapon is like this. We're basically a Spellblade character, which is super cool. I really dig Spellblade characters. So we have like a Spirit Sword that jumps up from us. As far as combat goes, so we do have our basic attack here. We can dash attack. Right now, I don't have any spells equipped, so I can't do anything like that. The spell system is based on like a charging system. You can perfect your spells if you release the spell action at a certain time, which will give you a bonus. Every time you pick a spell, it will let you know what that bonus is going to be. This guy over here just kind of gives you a summary of all the different spells that you can take. He's not really progression based. There's one guy over here where you're going to get things called souls. There's a couple different ways that you can get them. Every time you do a level up, it's going to give you a small incremental increase to your stats. So you can see here, like, we started with 40 attack, 50 HP, and 150 crit hit damage, and those have gone up very slightly. And then once we get, I don't know what these blessings are because I haven't unlocked them, but based on the trailer, they're kind of not amplifying, that's not the word, altering how the character plays, giving them different benefits to how they actually play out. So souls is something we're going to be going for. By defeating bosses, we get more souls. Over here, not there, over here, she went in a different area. So this, like, witch allows us to use our blue essences, which we're going to get in a whole bunch of different ways, to empower this well. First of all, you have to repair the well. Repairing the well is totally free. Buying wishes is what lets us kind of progress our meta progression, which we'll take a look at here in a second. I haven't gotten the healing well before a boss yet, and I haven't gotten to upgrade the healing well. These are kind of a little expensive, especially the buy wishes. This goes up every time, so it starts at, I think, 100. It's either 50 or 100, then goes, I think it's 100, then it goes to 150, and then, so it's, I think it's 50, 100, 100, so it's 50 every time, which is actually quite expensive based on there's going to be 50 of these that you need to unlock. So right now, there's 2 different branches, which looks like at the bottom here, you can kind of go over to the other side as opposed to starting all the way at the top. I have attacking enemies from behind deals 25% more damage. I have when entering a new room, you heal or regenerate 2 health. And most importantly, I have resurrect just for a free death. Otherwise, before I had this, I was on the other side, which is the first time you deal damage to an enemy, you deal 25% additional damage, and you recover health equal to 10% of the blue essence collected. This ultimately wasn't that much, but anyway, that's kind of how that works. You can freely reset these at any time, which is super nice, so you can kind of respec how you want to. But other than that, that's kind of all the meta progression there is at this time. Let's go ahead and jump into a run and see what we got here. The map itself is quite small. I'm kind of hoping that in the future, based on the trailer on the Steam page, There will be larger rooms. Right now it does feel a little bit cramped. So as you can kind of see, there's a wall going through the middle of the map here, right, from like 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So those are the two different sides of the loop, and the area here is going to change aesthetics all the not all the time, but for each different run, there's different like aesthetics to the loop, just to kind of change it up a little bit, change the layout, right? Because like, for example, there's some pools there on the top half that you can't actually go through, so it kind of makes the areas feel a little bit different. So here at the beginning, we can choose two different ancient spells. Basically, the blue side is our benefit, the red side is our detriment. The blue side, both of these are the same. We're going to start with a spell here. And so on this side of the loop, we need to choose what curse we want. Do we want a magic crystal that appears and makes enemies around it invulnerable? Or do we want to make this side of the room have deadly traps appear? I'm going to go for the curse crystal. The deadly traps are actually a little tough. Not necessarily tough, but I think this one's a lot easier because this basically just adds another enemy, and we can always take out this magical crystal. The traps, unfortunately, do not damage opponents yet. I hope that they do implement that, because it would make it so that the traps are both detriment to you, but also, if you play around them correctly, can use them to your advantage. So we're going to go with this side, and now we get to choose one of two different spells. Let's see, so we do have different rarities. Unleash a piercing lightning force over a linear path, electrifying enemies. That's a lot of damage, 200 damage. It also scales. It shows what stats it scales with, because you're going to be able to take different incremental increases to these. Or creates an ice explosion. This deals a lot more damage, so I am going to go with this. And so you can actually see here what Perfect Cast does. So the explosion freezes a larger area and deals more damage. Or pierce both ways. I think I'm just going to take, like I said, I'm going to take the Shadow Slash because it deals more damage. We don't have any rerolls yet. I haven't figured out how to get more rerolls. It might not be implemented yet, but we are going to go with Shadow Slash. And then we can choose what slot we want to put this in. This is just, I'm playing on Xbox controller, so this is either left bumper or right bumper. We're going to put it in the left bumper. And here we go. So this is the enemy. Since he's all alone, I'm just going to take him out right now. And then other than that, all we got to do is take out some enemies. So we're going to go ahead and charge that, get the Perfect Cast. Spells do not have any kind of mana cost to them. The only cost, as you can see right now, it has a 4 right now. Cooldown is not based on time. It's based on hits. So anytime you see a cooldown amount on a spell, it's going to be how many hits you have to do in order to get it back. That is something where right now, because we're with a Spellblade, who's kind of like, I would call Spellblade kind of like the neutral character, right? It's kind of like a knight. It's kind of like a warrior. It's just kind of like a good at everything character. One thing I'm a little hesitant about is if there is like a rogue character that has a really fast attack speed versus a like a berserker type character who is very heavy hitting but slow attacks. I'm wondering how that balancing is going to work, because obviously the rogue is going to be able to recycle their spells very quickly, and as I've found, the faster that you can actually get your spells off, because they do way more damage than your basic attacks, the better off you're going to be, especially against bosses. So here I'm going to go with the 55 blue essences. This is definitely the best way to progress, is to getting the blue essences, because otherwise you don't get that many when you go from room to room. Poison Spirit haunts the room, dropping poison. That's pretty easy to get through. The other being sticky surfaces, which basically make you slow, but you can't dash inside them. Overall, not too big detriments. Like, this one is pretty easy. We just kind of stay away from the spirit here. Not too big of a problem. Alright, so let's go take out these frog little guys. They're not too bad. There's one, I will say that there's one enemy that, for me, I feel like is pretty annoying, and most of the other enemies are pretty good. So we do have two, let's see, so our options here are either taking relic or taking gold. I am 100% taking gold here. So every once in a while, you'll get a room that lets you go to a merchant. Merchant, it doesn't show up all the time. You usually get about 1 per run, I've found. Go ahead and take that out. However, the stuff in the merchant room is pretty expensive compared to the gold you actually get. So you only get 10 gold per room that you complete. And a lot of stuff, like for example, the spells you get in the merchant are like 150 gold. So the only real way to buy another spell, if you want to, is by getting the gold through these benefits. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have enough gold, so that way if we do get a merchant room, we can pick up another spell, which will drastically increase our damage output. So I'm hoping that, you know, later down the line with this game, they make it either easier to get gold, or they give you slightly more, or they just decrease the prices, or they just give you more opportunities to get gold. Let's see, so we could take a relic, or we could increase our spell damage. I think here, rather than taking... I do like the spell damage because it would make our spell stronger, obviously. I'm going to go here with the relics. This would just make it so that there's another obstacle that we need to dodge, versus we can go this way where enemies are going to get stronger when their pals die. This one I don't think is as much of a problem. Enemies drop healing orbs, which is super nice, or reduces spell cooldowns by 2 points. I don't think I really need this one. I'm just going to take the extra healing, because the only other way to heal right now is every once in a while you'll find rooms, or you'll find sections of the loop that allow you to go to a healing room. And because I don't have... Oh, okay, let's get out of there. Because I don't have the well upgrade yet that allows me to get the healing well before the boss room, this is kind of my only really good opportunity to get those heals in. And spells do kind of lock on, which sometimes can be really nice, sometimes can be a bit of a problem. For example, there was a run that I did where I had a relic that said when you electrify, or like whenever you apply lightning to 5 different enemies at the same time, you get a lightning companion. And I had a spell that basically like black holed enemies and applied electric. But because I couldn't aim it exactly where I wanted it to, it kept like locking onto enemies, and those enemies might be kind of in a like slightly farther away spot that I actually wanted to target. But for the most part, it's actually been very beneficial. So again, I'm going to take more gold here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take out... Okay, so we have the enemy that I mentioned before that is kind of really obnoxious. That being this little guy who does like the poison attack. Okay, so we have to, unfortunately... Oh boy, this is going to be tough, because this crystal now is right in the middle of the room, and he's giving everybody invulnerability. So there we go. Let's go ahead and take care of him. Let's use the environment to our benefit here. So we got to take out this little tree dude. The little tree dude... Okay, yeah, I got stuck there. Well, let's just start over. Oh, right. I have the resurrection now. Well... I've beaten the boss with only 1 life before, so I guess we'll just see how this works. God, man, these spinny boys. Talking and playing is a real problem for me. Okay, let's get away from the spinny boy. Get away from the spinny boy! Okay, we're good. There we go. I have not figured out what these parchments are yet. I've gotten a bunch of them, but I just don't know. I don't know if the system that they're working with is implemented yet or not. Yeah, so the little like tree dudes that shoot out a laser of poison. So far, those are the most annoying enemies that I have fought. They have a really long range. Okay, so here we could go to the Loop Lord. I am not going to do so. I am just going to get the crit chance. So the Loop Lord will occasionally show up, give you a guaranteed soul, and that soul, again, can be used to power up your character, which we do need to get the blessings. However, I am really low on health. I also don't have a second spell, which would be very helpful in taking him out. So I am just going to go here, get some additional crit chance. Yeah, I mean, you can see his range. He just has a very, very high range. You can obviously use the environment to your advantage to try and block him off, but they can just be very annoying. We need to find... Okay, this might not be a great run. We might have to do another... Well, I mean, we're going to do another one, but... I actually thought I was outside of that hit range right there. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll start on... I wasn't a big fan of that spell anyway. So, let's go ahead and restart here. I don't have enough for... You're asking... Oh, I think it's just because we discovered a new spell. Don't have anything for the well just yet, so let's go ahead and pop in here and do another run. Yeah, we had a lot of gold, but we just didn't have the merchant to spend it on. Enemies in rain... I feel like on this side of the map, this isn't the best one to do. I feel like on the top side, this one's a little bit easier, so let's go ahead and take this. Shockwave in a radius deals 180 damage and electrifying enemies in the zone. Gains a temporary shield. If it expires without taking damage, it explodes. Now we're just going to take the tremor. I want damage. I'm not a big fan. I'm not personally. My gameplay style is not really good with the preventative stuff. I like the reactionary defense stuff. So things like heals or dodges, as opposed to, you know, shields or parries. Just because in my old age, as it were, of 30 years old, my reaction time has gotten a lot worse. Let's see. I'm gonna take the yeah, we're gonna do the explosive barrels. If you electrify an enemy, your crit chances increase by 50%, which is actually pretty nice. That works with our skill. Or we could just go for the healing orb. I mean, this gives us more damage, so we're gonna take the stunning luck. Which we have a nice little boost above our head, so we know that we got the benefit. There's also a nice little sound cue. Well, depending on if you think it's nice, but there is a little sound cue every time your skills come back or come off cooldown. Max health. Enemies drop a bomb when they die. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. What's the other one though? Dash blocking froze. Yeah, we're gonna take the extra health. Stay out of the bomb. There we go. We get the nice perfect. Apparently that one's perfect. I honestly thought I released that a little bit too early. Increase spell damage or Loop Lord. You know what? We're pretty early on. We're just gonna go see the Loop Lord. Worst case, we die. We just start over. You know, we don't have a lot of investment into our character right now. And he's not like that tough. He really only has one major attack. I will say there's no... So with this boss, there's no real like hit boxes or anything. The primary boss that's in the game right now does have really good hitboxes. This one I feel like needs a little bit of work to show off like where he's hitting. Or hang on, let's do this. Let's talk afterwards. There we go. Last hit. There we go. Easy enough. Yeah, so the final boss we do, he does a really good job of showing exactly where the boss is attacking. Yeah, this one, so I've definitely learned kind of his attack. It's not even really an attack pattern. He really only has like 2 different attacks. It's really the final attack that changes. But yeah, I don't know how you would necessarily change it, but I'd want a little bit more like what my brain's just like not working this morning. A little bit better of a preview of where exactly he's going to attack. So we can either take more health or more attack damage. I think I'm just going to take the more max health. We could take the damage would be nice. However, having the additional HP, because the health we scale when we die is a percentage, might as well have more of it. Yeah, I was hoping to sneak past him. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, merch. Oh, man, we're so broke, though. See, that's the problem, is I don't think... if I take the gold here, I actually don't think there's going to be another merchant room. And to be fair, this is mostly because of how far you can go in this early demo. So we're actually very close to actually going to a boss room. And because it's an early demo, the game ends after you beat the first boss. So... typically, like, once the game kind of comes out into either like early access or there's a more extensive demo, likely taking the gold here would be the correct choice. However, I don't think that there's going to be another option to go to the merchant portal. So we'll just go here for right now. There are a couple options for 50 gold. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take the 100 gold options, but we can at least look here and see kind of what the merchant shop looks like. So we have two different options. We could either take the heal, or we could take the essence. I'm going to take the essence here since we're pretty good on health. But the other options we could do, we have some relics. So become immune for 1 second after using a spell. We have simple attacks gain 10% electricity chance, which would be pretty good with our crit relic that we already have. Reduces spell cooldowns by 2 points, which is 2 hits. Or when your shield becomes available again, a natural Nova explosion is triggered around you. And then we have 2 spells. So we have the Chakram and we have the Holy Missiles, which I haven't used yet. So yeah, you can see that the stuff is quite expensive, especially since for each side of the loop, we only get 10 gold. Like I said, this might be one of those things where it kind of evens itself out when the runs last a little bit longer, because you can afford to do those 150 gold runs. I mean, you can definitely do so now, but it's a little bit harder to get up to a point where you can pick like multiple items. So here, I'm just going to take the essence because it's going to allow me to make more wishes. And like I said, we're pretty good on health here. We still have our revive that we can use. And in case you forget what curses you have in a room, you can check out your room debuffs, which are up in the top left. Because, of course, those do change for each different side of the loop. Okay. Let's make sure we take out these guys. Oh, God, I didn't get close enough. Let's go ahead and take care of them both here. Get some backstab damage in. Okay, Spinny Boy. Stay away from me, Spinny Boy. Ah, got that. Okay, we're good. We're good. There we go. Knock him out. Okay, we get some essence. We get some coins. And I believe... is it 3? I think it might be 3 completed loops before we go do a boss. So that being said, see, this is tough because, again, I want the coins just in case, but I don't think we're going to get another... merchant room. So we're going to go with the attack damage here, which is unfortunate because I do want another spell, but it seems like the only way to get more spells is by going to the merchants. So right now, in the way the demo plays out, you do kind of have to get lucky and get the 150 gold option before you go to a merchant. Because otherwise, it doesn't seem like the rooms themselves give you spells. Okay, we're getting a little bit of frame stuttering here. Oh, so does it look like the exploding barrels are actually good against enemies? But like I said, I do know the trap rooms, the curse that we saw earlier that puts deadly traps. I don't believe that those affect enemies. So is this the boss room? No, not the boss room. Oh, man, we still have more gold. Okay, well, we have deadly traps. Oh, man, do I take the risk and do I go for gold? I still think that this is better. Okay, we're gonna take this because this is better against the boss versus this because we're not gonna be killing any enemies against the boss. So we'll go for some extra crit chance. So the deadly traps are always the same. Or I should say they always put them in the same spot. So it's not like they're random. Like once you know where the traps are, you kind of know how to avoid them. But this isn't like a... Oh, hang on here. Want to not take a whole lot of damage here, if at all possible. Yeah, so it's not like a Sworn or like Curse of the Dead Gods where you can use the traps to your advantage. They just kind of are there. So we have our first boss. It's very likely going into this boss that I'm probably not going to talk all too much, just to kind of focus on the fight itself. It's a pretty straightforward boss. There's 2 phases. And there's kind of like an initial phase here. So this boss is like a giant anglerfish, basically, where we're going to have to take care of these freaky looking mermaid things before he pops out of the water. There we go. That's like phase half. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm taking a little bit of damage there. Okay, he's gonna go back in. We get the mermaids back out. We gotta fight them again. There we go. He comes back out. Okay, now we're in phase 2, second health bar, so he's going to have a few different attacks. He's going to pull us in here, which is going to do this poison ring. Just got to dash through that. Same thing, we just dash away here, dash through it. Okay, now instead of doing the kind of linear attacks, it's going to follow us for a quick second. And there we go. Boss down. Your Merid has fallen. And there we go. That's basically it. So that's the end of the run as it stands right now in the demo. So we do get our souls, which we can use. It brings us back here, which we would allow us to pick another character. I'm assuming eventually the run would still continue. It would be a pretty short game if that was it. So now we have enough souls that we can come in here and check out what the blessing is. So we're going to level up, which is going to give us a little bit of crit hit chance. I'm not certain if this is kind of a linear system. It looks to me like it is, where all of these stat upgrades are predetermined and it's not kind of random, because there's no way to cycle what stats you're going to get. So we can go ahead and level up once. And so now we have our blessing. Aiden gains a round shield to protect himself. Press right mouse button. We are on controller though, so it doesn't look like that changes. It's not reactive to what kind of controller we're using. I'm assuming that is B though. We can keep using our souls here to get a few more stats, so we have a little bit more attack power. Yeah, okay, so B is kind of our special ability, which I was wondering when we were going to get. We can also come in here. We have a bunch of souls, or a bunch of wishes, so we could either get another wish, or I think, honestly, the healing well before the boss is the better thing to do here. And then, right, so we don't have any more wishes, so we couldn't progress this. We could have bought another wish if we wanted to. And then this guy, I think he just updates, yeah, Cold Dash, a new Cold Dash. So I don't know if that means that Cold Dash is now an ability that we can find in the game, because I don't think we saw anything that had to do with Cold Dash. But you can see here there's a bunch of different relics. Oh, actually, it looks like these are relics, not spells. But you can see there's quite a few here. Yeah, and so that's basically the game as of right now. Like I said, it's a pretty early demo, so the extent of the game itself is fairly short. But based on the trailer, it looks like there's going to be, you know, quite a bit more to the game. I think the concept is pretty cool. You know, it's an action combat game, so if you like these kinds of games and developing your character, getting new upgrades, it's pretty fun. I think that it'll be interesting to kind of see what the other characters are. I do really like the Spellblade character itself. It's just one of the classes I do enjoy playing in these types of games. I do think that there needs to be a little bit more ways to get new spells. Right now, the only way it seems to get new spells is through the merchant. And again, just because of the structure of this early demo, it seems like it's kind of tough to get because the runs are fairly short. I think it was three full loops that we had to do? Full loop meaning both sides, so it's basically 6 sides. It might have been 4. Before you get to a boss, so it's pretty short. And so if you do a merchant before you have enough gold, there's not enough time for you to find another merchant, which means that you're going to be shy of getting 2 spells. So I think that there should probably be spells should probably be added to the room selection as opposed to just essence, gold, and relics. Oh, and stat bonuses. Which, again, may be the case when the runs get longer, but as of right now, because the runs are fairly short, it's going to be a bit tougher to kind of stack everything in that you want to see. But the only way so far that I've been able to get a second spell is to be lucky enough to get a bunch of gold early on in the run and then go to a merchant. Otherwise, I've always been stuck with just 1 spell. And the game kind of drastically changes once you get a second spell, just because they're a lot more powerful than your basic attacks. Especially, I had a meteor spell that just dropped a massive AoE fire damage, and it just did a lot of damage, which was pretty good. Yeah, but other than that, I think that this is a really good start for the game. I'm curious to see if there's going to be any kind of story. I'm not sure how people necessarily feel about that. You know, I know that a lot of people do like Hades for that reason, that there is a bit of a story and more lore. Kind of like I've been playing Astral Ascent a lot, which is very different from this, but from what I've heard for people that do really like Astral Ascent or like Dead Cells, they like the fact that there's a lot of lore and a story that you can kind of dive into as opposed to just kind of having like surface level combat. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be added into the game as well. Because the world itself here, like, I'm not necessarily sure what the kind of background is to this world. Obviously, there's got to be a bit of a story, a bit of lore here as to what's kind of going on. Oh, I didn't realize that he has this, like, curse sword in front of him. That's pretty sweet. I also do not know. Let me take a quick look here at the Steam page. Does it say anything about co-op? I don't see anything about co-op right now, so I'm not sure if co-op is going to be implemented in the game at all. Which is something I think more and more that people are starting to really enjoy about these games is playing co-op, so that'll be interesting if they decide to implement that at all. But other than that, guys, what do you think about Rogue Loops? Let me know down below in the comment section. This is one that I've seen. I've kind of followed it, watching a bunch of it on Reddit. saw a bunch of posts, and then finally the playtest demos were available, and so I definitely want to jump in on it and check it out. This is one that might be cool. So hopefully when it comes out in January, there's a little bit more content so we can dive a little bit deeper into it and see how the systems work out on a longer run. But so far, I feel like the combat might be a little bit simple. So I'm hoping to expand on that a little bit, and that will likely come once we get more blessings, once we're able to get a secondary spell, because right now it was really just basic attacks, dashes, and one spell. But that tends to be the case in early games regardless. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's going to do it for this one. If you did enjoy the video, if you liked spending time here today, would you kindly smash that like button, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more roguelite action. But for today, guys, I have been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.